Women actually make great leaders. But how many times have you heard of a woman leader being referred to as too bossy? Yeah, or maybe some other choice words. But we have to realize that women are great leaders, and when women lead, they bring others along with them. We're not just making this up. The research shows that when a woman leads, she not only brings in more money and profit, but she also produces great teams that work together. Women value professional development for themselves and their employees. They bring integrity, initiative, compassion, and collaboration to the team. Women work together when they lead, and the whole community benefits.
Well, I think women as men also, they show certain traits where people respect them and they're leaders because of that. They're admired. Women can lead in any community or any group. I believe that many women get involved in this because they're working for a certain minority. They're part of a certain minority, whether it's because they're all poor and they're rural, or because they're Hispanic, or because they're authors and they want to publish. Whatever their group is, they take the initiative and begin to have passion for it. And then it's only natural that other people are excited too, and that's how they lead. And I think that if we have women continuing to do that and are leaders in the community, and the community accepts women, then everybody sees how effective that women can be, just as men are, and women begin to see they too can be leaders. That's what I think is so important.
Well, women are half the sky, so 52% of the whole world population are women. So it's vital that women are placed in positions of leadership and power. Now, one of the main barriers to women's leadership is a lot of values that they have internalized. For example, women look at the path to success, the path that men have taken, and a lot of women try to become them. But I think one of the main ways to overcome that is for women to reflect and reach out to their inner resources, because all the experiences that women have because of being women have given them so much different skill sets, different traits. Some of the skill sets or traits have been historically considered as a liability, but these are not liabilities, these are assets. For example, women tend to be more collaborative. Women are much better in communication, in mentorship, in interaction. Men's style of leadership is primarily transactional. That means, they make orders to their subordinates, and women's style of leadership is more of a transformational. They empower other people and they make them feel good about themselves. So women are making up 52% of the whole world economy also. So it's almost like if you split the sky in half and expect half of the sky to rain or shine. And that's what we're missing in the world. And that's why it's so important for women to be in leadership position, not only in their communities, not only at the governmental level, but also in their homes. Because women tend to represent something that the world is really missing, and that's the communication, the peace aspect of our experience as being humans on this earth.
Well, in the area of how women can play a stronger role in our communities, I want to start off with, for example, the Supreme Court. Right now, the Supreme Court is doing fairly well with the number of women justices on the Supreme Court. But that wasn't always the case. Women had to struggle to become recognized for their role in the legal profession, and even when they were seeking jobs, there was a lot of discrimination against women in job seeking in the legal profession. But women have actually now moved forward and have been able to establish themselves with who they are and what their competencies are. So that's one way that women have, it's a struggle. And there are organizations which are helping them, like the ACLU is an example of it. And there is a women now, the big march that happened at the time of the election when President Trump was elected. There was 1 million women went to Washington, D.C. to assert their rights, and at which that kind of assertion of their rights will provide with them, more women will be ending up in more prominent roles in the political arena, more balance will be occurring on the Senate and the House. There will be more women represented in those organizations, and that is because of the struggle that women are making to be recognized. There is one convention that I want to mention. It's called CEDAW, and it's the Convention for Elimination of Discrimination Against Women. That convention is it's a convention that says women should get equal pay, equal recognition for what they are doing in their workplace. Some societies, some organizations like San Francisco have adopted this convention. And I can give you the name of a woman here in this area. Her name is Tara Rusta, who is working with the city to have them pass an ordinance in support of CEDAW, which is Convention of Elimination of Discrimination Against Women.
Within the Maasai culture, the bond between women is strong. The society is polygamous, so that the co-wives help each other and work together. However, they are in a realm that is reserved just for women. They often do not take part in decision making, and the husband is the one who makes the decisions about the family. As a woman gradually gets educated and begins to lead, she can exert a big influence in the community. I know of one of our students who finished secondary school, but she did not do well. She didn't pass, actually. And she married the village leader in her home village. Now, this village leader had 6 wives already, or she was maybe the 6th wife. However, she's the only one who has some education. So she has been able to really exert herself in this whole village. Her husband has her write his letters and so on because he's illiterate, but she can write. She accompanies people to the hospital because she knows how to talk with the doctors. They have a project where women are working with solar panels, and she's in one of the directors of the project, making plans for people, understanding what has to be done, who does this, who does that. She's also supervising the accounts. So when you have someone who has some education in the village, if this person can be assertive, they can really be very, very influential. We find also that when our students who have gone on for further education go back to their villages, they're really role models for the young girls there. The young girls see them, and the mothers see them, and then the mothers bring them to MSOI and say, "Please, I want you to educate my daughter. I want her to be like so and so because she's able to speak. She helps her family. She has. You can see that she's." making a contribution to society.
It's really important for women to get out there and do more leadership. As more women do it, we as a society will get more and more comfortable with it. And I think after the election, a lot of women started becoming more interested in politics. So there's politics, and then there's the business side of things. So, Sheryl Sandberg wrote that book called Lean In, and that's a really important thing for women to do in the business side. And in terms of how women joining these things helps both us in politics and in business, you find that companies actually make more money when they do affirmative action. A lot of people think that affirmative action has to do with quotas, and you have to have a certain number of women and men, but that's not what it's about. It's about trying to mirror the society, doing what you can to mirror the society that you live in. So in the Bay Area, around where I live, it's roughly if you're looking at racial issues, it's about 1/3 white, 1/3 Asian, 1/3 Hispanic. And so you would try and mirror that. You're not going to get it exactly, but you'll try. And you'll have roughly half women, right? But what businesses found is when they started doing that, it used to be something that the government mandated. They said, you have to do this. And later they said, okay, it's up to you. And most businesses found that they made more money because they were actually making better hiring decisions. Before that, they had assumed that men were just better at everything. And so they would hire men and ignore really talented women and minorities. So after they were told it's no longer a government mandate, most businesses continue to do affirmative action because they found they actually did make better hiring decisions. And if you look at politics, there have been some studies that suggest that men are more likely to go into it for, I guess you could say, their ego status, whereas women are more likely to go into politics because they actually want to help the community. And I think that it's not that men are worse than women, but we socialize girls and boys differently. We socialize boys to think in terms of status, and we socialize girls to think in terms of caring about others. And so I think that that's why you end up with that type of a pattern. So it's really important, whether you're in business or politics, for women to get involved.
I think it's really important that women, girls, have equal representation in leadership and in community, both informal leadership, but also elected office. I know that there have been studies done that say that at the kindergarten level, both boys and girls equally say that they would like to be president of the United States. And then when you get to, I think it's 5th grade, girls, the rate of girls who say that they want to be the president of the U.S. drops significantly. So something's happening to girls at a very early age that's telling them that they can't be leaders or shouldn't be leaders or shouldn't want to be leaders. Something's going on there, and we need to find out what is happening to girls at a very young age to discourage them from assuming positions of leadership. I think that it's important for women to run for elected office, and I think that it's important that we look for better, more equal representation, not only for women in elected office, but especially for people of color and women of color in elected office. We all suffer when we don't have diverse leadership. It's important to have a diverse group of people leading a community or leading the country in order to make laws and policies that benefit the country as a whole or the community as a whole, and not a certain group of people. And so I really think it's important that women and girls and young people of all genders think about running for office, think about how they can better serve their community through leadership, and how they might, what type of leadership roles they might be interested in fulfilling in their community.